You're talking about,
The
oh, we're
bad
settlers,
person.
we settled. No, you're colonizers, you colonized. You took away our knowledge and what we had and all the Native Americans had, and you took that and you used it against us. Not only did you use it against us, but then you
I'm Luna Snow.
decided to become
Like the moon.
settlers,
I shine
not
in
what
darkness.
the you are. It's colonization.
It's easier being a superhero when you have the fame part figured out.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Well, fancy seeing you here, J-Jaws.
This isn't time to settle old grudges, Logan.
What's wrong? Scared your rage ain't what it used to be?
More scared of what I could do if you make me unleash it.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Don't matter how old I am, I can still take out any of you chumps.
Come on, Hairball!
There they are.
About time. Some assistance, please.
That one hurt.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now. Count on me. The mission area is
Thanks
yours.
so much.
I am at your service. Be proud, my friends.
Well, that's cheap. Thanks.
Fastballs!
Quantum Hill. The Cosmos Shield. What a difference. Thanks, Penny! Cosmic might returns.
I don't have to be center stage. Be strong together.
You've captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
A nice deep freeze. You need me.
Berserker! Raid!
Gee, thanks. You're amazing. I wish I could do what you do.
Farewell.
Get up here!
Well, that's better.
The area's almost yours.
It's okay. Admit it. You need me.
Here come our next victims.
Be strong together.
I require some aid. Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
Music makes people happy. Heroes make
My
them sing. Maybe I can do both.
Come on, Hairball!
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Is it true that they call you Logan?
Maybe. What's it to you?
My pet wolf was named Logan. I miss him.
Sorry to hear it, darling, but I ain't no one's pet. Not in any reality.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
My cosmic awareness has drawn me to this dark place.
This is gonna hurt. Cheer up, little one.
There they are.
mission area is yours to capture now.
Even better than my mutant power.
Watch me soar!
You're amazing. I wish I could do what you do.
Mission area is yours.
We got it. Well, look who's up to no good. I am ready to put on a show.
Hey, Chad! Someone clip this!
Hurts.
Some assistance, please.
Even better than my mutant power.
My cosmic might returns.
Fear dust. You captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
I can be reckless now.
Berserker! Born again!
That woke me up.
Second chance is over.
It's Spider time! The area's almost yours.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man! Boom! No skill shot!
Control lost.
My
Watch me soar!
Control seized. Keep fighting until we have a winner.
Here, ahead. I found them.
Another epic victory! Big win!
Well, I'm talking about what's
What
happened in this
happens
country.
to your little political movements in Afghanistan? To your little political movements with the holding of the little sign saying, I don't want to wear this really hot
you'll
f***ing
need a
burqa in the
top-notch team
100
to win
degrees
this
sun,
one.
and they come out and they're f***ing head off? How do they do over there? They don't do so good. How come? It's because men allow you to keep those signs up. Men allow you to protest. Men are the ones who give the allowance for you to do f***ing anything on planet Earth. And my proof is half of planet Earth where men said, no, f- that. And you know what women can do about it? Nothing.
Andrew Wilson absolutely annihilates this feminist insane delusion in this debate, as Andrew Wilson shreds this feminist's entire argument against the patriarchy, proving her whole point literally makes no sense, while she continues to try and defend her delusion but gets savagely beaten in this clip with Andrew Wilson. Let's get in.
What happens to your little political movements in Afghanistan? To your little political movements holding up the little sign saying, I don't want to wear this really hot fucking burqa in the 100-degree sun, and they come out and their fucking head off? How do they do over there? They don't do so good. How come? It's because men allow you to keep those signs up. Men allow you to protest. Men are the ones who give the allowance for you to do fucking anything on planet Earth. And my proof is half of planet Earth where men said, no, f that. And you know what women can do about it? Nothing. They can't do anything about it.
You wanted to hear about Andrew's philosophy against feminism. Maybe that goes into like force doctrine stuff.
Oh yeah, I wanted to hear about that in particular.
Oh no,
I'm just
not
like,
feminism.
I'm infected with the woke virus, so I need to be enlightened.
The woke virus.
You're not going to like it.
I need to be enlightened, Andrew. Please help me out.
Yeah, so, well, let's just start with, can I tell you what I think feminism is?
Can you tell me about force doctrine first? Or would you...
Well, I think I
rather-
need to
let's do
caveat.
feminism
I think I need to caveat it with what I think feminism is. I think feminism is an egalitarian movement which is designed to dismantle patriarchy. That's what I think
So
feminism
like
is.
equal rights kind of thing?
No,
'Cause I would
the
talk-
egalitarian would match the equal rights, but you're missing the dismantling patriarchy aspect. I think that feminism has a stated goal of dismantling patriarchal systems because it uses a lens of an oppressor-oppressed class. And if you're an oppressed class, who are you oppressed by? Well, in the case of all women being oppressed, who else could they be oppressed by except men? And men are the patriarchy.
I mean, when I talk about, when I like think about like feminism and look at today's world, I don't think men are oppressing women and that the system we live in, especially like legally, is patriarchal. I think there's people with patriarchal ideas.
Then why do we need feminism for?
Well, I mean, when I think of feminism, I just think of like encouraging women to pursue what they want to pursue, whether that's like in a professional space,
And why
in a
would we need
domestic space.
So why do we need feminism then?
Because there's a lot of women who maybe feel like they can't, like they,
So
like, they
who's the
should do a certain thing.
and who's the oppressor here? Who's oppressing them into
I'm
believing
not saying
that?
anyone's the oppressor.
So then feminism to you is just an advocation that women should just do what they want?
Yeah, kind
That's
of.
it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like feminists who say like, oh, we live in such a patriarchy and we're so oppressed, and then there's feminists who say like, who just support women just like pursuing their goals, reaching their fullest potential, and being.
But you don't
successful.
believe women should strive for all goals, right? Like,
Well-
you can have bad goals that women shouldn't pursue. You would agree with that.
I mean, when it comes to like me evaluating other people's goals, pursue whatever goal you want to pursue, so long as you're not causing active harm to anyone.
Okay, so you have an active harm principle. So the active harm principle is like, do as thou wilt as long as it harms nobody else.
Yeah.
That's impossible. Because, yeah, but this is the problem with the harm principle in general. Is that
Well, most people don't have goals that are harming people. Like most women aren't trying to.
well, I think that people don't generally set out to harm people, but I think that people can have goals that harm people, whether they set out to
The
do it
goals
or
I'm
not.
talking about are personal and professional goals. mostly.
Yeah,
Like this is my life goal. This is what I want to do. This is my purpose.
Would
I
you then
understand.
consider someone who is putting out content that might be racy, that if a 16-year-old boy came across it, it would be harmful to him?
That could harm him, yeah.
yeah, can harm him.
But I mean, also that like pivots into my whole like beliefs on the sex work debate. I want to stay focused on it.
Well, okay, so I guess I'll try to make it easy for you. So, I think patriarchy itself is the stated goal of deconstruction from feminism. I do think that they want to deconstruct the patriarchy, and they're trying to move women into egalitarian positions with men, and that's why the patriarchy has to be deconstructed.
I mean, when I think of feminism, I think of like a broad range of movements. You have like the first wave of feminism, modern feminism.
It's all the
It
same
encompasses a lot of like different degrees of beliefs, which is why I want to hear more about the whole force doctrine thing.
Well, force doctrine is just advocating that men have a monopoly on force. So since men have a monopoly on force, women are always going to have to appeal to a patriarchal system to enforce their rights. And so no matter what happens, you end up with circularity. Men have a monopoly on force. Women will always have to appeal to men for force. Therefore, true feminism and dismantling of patriarchy is never possible because they're always appealing to the patriarchy in order to enforce their rights.
I am
I
ready
mean,
to
when I hear you
crush
say that, what I immediately think is like you're drawing a sort of legitimacy from the fact that men have greater strength, greater capacity for force and violence. They have the monopoly on force, right?
They do have the legitimacy from your worldview, not mine. But it's your worldview
Well, no.
that gives them the legitimacy.
I mean, I'm not the one advocating for force.
Do you believe in God?
Yeah.
Okay, are you,
I mean,
are
I'm
you
not Christian.
You're not Christian, so what kind of God do you believe in?
I'm Hindu.
You're Hindu. Like practicing Hindu?
Yes. Why is that so funny?
Well, okay, that's fine.
I'm just curious, like, why you think that.
So, well, because Hinduism and harm reductionism isn't exactly synonymous, which means that you have a different distinction in principle.
I don't like draw my political views based on my religion completely.
Don't you draw your political views from your morals?
I mean, yeah.
Because then where do you get your morals except from your religion?
I mean, I don't get all my morals from religion.
Where do you get them from?
I think there's like some sort of like notion of like objective, like universally understood morals that go beyond religion. I also believe in like separation of like.
No, that's just subjective morality. You're just talking about preference. So you get your morals from things you prefer. Like things I prefer are more moral than things
Just
I
like
don't.
how I think people should be treated. Anyways.
Well, that's important. And the reason that that's important, that we're figuring out where you draw your morality from.
I would also say I'm not like super devout to where religion's like heavily.
I understand. So then we got preference. But if it's just
Pick your hero or villain. I'm not judging.
That go beyond religion. I also believe in like separation of like.
No, that's
church
just
and state.
subjective morality. You're just talking about preference. So you get your morals from things you prefer. Like things I prefer are more moral than things
Just
I
like
don't.
how I think people should be treated. Anyways.
Well, that's important. And the reason that that's important, that we're figuring out where you draw your morality from.
I would also say I'm not like super devout to where religion's like heavily.
I understand. So then we got preference. But if it just comes down to preference, then every man's preference is equal to your preference. Everybody's preference is. So why is it not legitimate for men to collectivize and utilize force for the purposes of upping their station in society?
And that's what I was going to touch on. Because when you say like, okay, men have a monopoly on force, women need to appeal to men to gain the rights, it's circular. You're like drawing legitimacy for men from their monopoly on force. And when I see you like kind of equate strength and legitimacy, it's like it's kind of a dangerous slippery slope.
But
Then I think about it this way.
What other legitimacy is there?
Listen. I think about it this way. When you draw legitimacy from strength, it's like, okay, pedophiles could collectively overpower little children.
All you need to do is capture the
That's right.
area.
And then it
Got
seems to like almost forced doctrine to me would seem to justify that. Then you're suddenly justifying every tyrannical invading force throughout history, including
Or-
Russia invading Ukraine, World War II, Nazism. It's a very
Well, or you're justifying the opposite. You're justifying the overthrowing of Nazism and justifying the overthrowing of pedophilic cults or justifying the overthrowing of said evil deed. Force doctrine will do both. But that doesn't really negate the fact that what you're doing is you're just always appealing to men again for your rights. Always.
when you talk about how
Yeah, Andrew Wilson brings up one of the most obvious points about this feminist argument, and is that it's essentially a paradox. You're appealing to the very thing that you're wanting to get rid of, and you're basically a dog chasing its tail. That's all these feminists are doing. They're just running themselves in circles, and the thing that they're trying to chase, you could never even get to, anyway. And every time they try to hate against force doctrine, like, these evil powers are doing this and that, like Andrew Wilson points out, the good guys use the same thing. Force doctrine is not a justification of anything. It's simply an observation. That is simply how force works. Those who have power have the ability to enforce whatever will they are carrying out. So if there's, an evil force in power, well, that's when the good guys get together and then they overthrow it. The American Revolution. You go through history, you see the same thing. But to say that you're going to appeal to that very thing in order to grant you rights in which you need men in order to enforce, all the while, saying that thing is evil, that's why this entire argument literally makes no sense. And none of these feminists are smart enough to figure it out.
men have a monopoly on force. You're talking about like, okay, men are like physically, biologically stronger.
Well,
Because that's like what you need.
Look, I'll defer to the IFBB pro, okay? I'm guessing that physically she's one of the, most females are not stronger than the average male.
But you're talking
But she may be. But in comparison to IFBB pro males, she's not.
You're making your...
Most of them are stronger on average, right?
You're saying- you're pointing-
but what I'm saying is that just on average, and it's not minuscule. Like, no offense, right? But I'm guessing that there's hormone replacement, all sorts of things that goes on that assists with you being able to really get jacked the way that you are, right? Okay, for sure. So the thing is like, men are also doing that in the IFBB, and they get much stronger. And it's not a slight distinction in strength. You're talking about, hang on, you're talking about 50 to 75% strength differential. That's fucking huge. That's like fighting with a gorilla. That's like fighting with a gorilla.
I agree.
From a man's perspective.
I agree. Men are collectively a lot, like biologically.
Much physically stronger than the average woman.
What I was gonna say is like when you talk about force and you think about today, okay, let's say you have a 5'2" woman who has access to military-grade weaponry and a missile program, and then you have a 180-pound, 6-foot, whatever man, super strong, who just has like a handgun. Force today, it can be like remote, it can be mechanical, and it's not purely like biological. She could physically use force overpower him.
And who's in charge? Who's in charge of all of this industry and builds all these weapons and uses all these weapons and designs all these weapons?
I mean, women are equally capable of being weapons engineers. I think it's more of an intellectual accomplishment.
How come they're not then?
Because, I mean, throughout history, women had not been encouraged to enter those kinds of spaces. But like, if you put a woman into that field today and a man into that field, I think they could both be perfectly successful at it.
Let me just ask you a question. Have you ever fired a gun?
No.
Never, right?
I've never fired a gun, no.
No. Are you aware that they actually require a decent amount of physical strength to handle
30
properly?
seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Yeah.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, okay.
And the bigger the gun, the more physical strength is required. And the other problem is that you have to carry lots of ammo, and that requires a lot of physical strength. And you have to carry a bunch of gear to feed yourself, and then you have to carry bulletproof vests that you're wearing so that when you get shot, right, you don't
But
die.
I think if you gave me a gun,
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the problem is, we know this from hundreds of years of military collected data, not just here, but in every nation on planet Earth, that women consistently have to have the standards lowered for them on average so that they can, in any way, shape, or form, keep up with men in those roles. What that tells us collectively is this: they're not as good in them. Men have a little advances you think you're going to make.
but it is the case that in that scenario, a woman could physically, using that kind of force, overpower the man.
It is hypothetically.
If you're talking about the highest grade of
it could be hypothetically, like, I'm willing to grant that you could have a logical possibility of like where women have like a fucking, I don't know, dystopian technological future where they invent all of the technology and enforce all of the rights to machinery. Okay, I'm willing to grant that. But the thing is like, that's not going to happen. And it's not the case now. It's not going to be the case in our lifetime, or the lifetime of your mom, or your mom's mom, or even your mom's mom. So right now, at least, the case is that you have to kill the men for force. And so feminism as a dismantling of patriarchy is not possible because you're appealing to the very thing you're trying to dismantle always to dismantle it.
But it's also interesting because when I think about political movements throughout history in this country that have been super effective, they've done so through social organization, protests, political pressure, cultural influence, things that have nothing to do with force. Because like those are appealing to the government, the people in power. Those
And
cases,
what does the government use?
The government has access to force, but these movements have still been successful.
Because men have allowed them to be. But in places where men don't allow them to be, they're not. Can I give you the entirety of the Middle East and Asia? What happens to your little political movements there?
Well, I'm talking about
what happens to your little political movements in Afghanistan? To your little political movements with the holding up the little sign saying, I don't want to wear this really hot f***ing burqa in the 100-degree sun, and they come out and their f***ing head off? How do they do over there? They don't do so good. How come? It's because men allow you to keep those signs up. Men allow you to protest. Men are the ones who give the allowance for you to do f***ing anything on planet Earth. And my proof is half of planet Earth where men said, no, f*** that. And you know what women can do about it? Nothing. They can't do anything about it.
But in the democratic country we live in, those are values.
All relying on men. All relying on men allowing you to have a democracy.
Right. I think if you're thinking that women were able to get rights to vote just because of their protest, but no, it's actually because we didn't vote since so many men were at war or dying. Like women weren't allowed to vote until
I'm also just curious
they
that
needed
at
votes.
that point.
Hold on, let her finish. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, women just weren't allowed to like be
This is
educated.
almost as fun as pulling a heist.
Can't do anything.
We live in those.
Nothing. They can't do anything about it.
But in the
like Andrew Wilson mentioned, this is how delusional all of these feminists think. You know, they think their movements are actually powerful or accomplish anything. Just as Andrew pointed out, once men decide you don't have this, they don't have it. Like, there's no better example of simply pointing at half of planet Earth that simply said, no, you're not going to do this, you're not going to be allowed. That's the real reality of the situation. That's the real reality. And what these feminists, in all their arrogance, don't understand is they still want to try and shame men and attack masculinity, all the while knowing the capability that at any time, men could simply say, no, you're done, and then you go back to nothing. And still they push for more, and still they push for more. All the while threatening their own movements and their own existence. Like, it's absolutely insane. And at no level are women going to beat men in the field, in mining, in gathering the materials, in moving it. The smartest men, all the geniuses, the highest engineers, the overwhelming majority of everybody in STEM who are going to be the engineers designing all this stuff, that's all men. Women don't care about any of this stuff. When they go to the excuse, oh, well, there were never women in these fields because men kept them out. Women don't want to do it anyway. I don't care if there's 2% of women, whatever. Generally, almost all of women do not want to go into these fields. That's why they don't when given the option. So no matter what, men are gonna design the weapons, they're gonna gather the materials for the weapons, they're gonna shoot the weapons, they're gonna be the ones with the body armor and all the gear. There is literally no facet that women are going to beat men at literally anything. And yet they continue to want to poke the bear. That's how stupid these feminists really are.
Like the democratic country we live in, those are values.
All relying on men. All relying on men allowing you to have a democracy.
Right. I think you're thinking that women were able to get rights to vote just because of their protest, but no, it's actually because they needed votes since so many men were at war or dying. Like, women weren't allowed to vote until where they needed votes.
At that point,
Hold on, let her finish.
Yeah, women just weren't allowed to be educated or vote until men decided we need women to enter the economy. We need women to enter the voting pool so we could win more because men are dying in these wars.
Actually, there's a lot of truth to that with what industrialization did and industrialists did with wanting to get women to have cheaper labor enter into the workforce. But ultimately, the interesting part here is that all of this just proves force doctrine. The truth is that if men collectivize for rights, they can get them because we can kill other men. We have a monopoly on force. We can kill men. We can take our rights. Let me give you the Revolutionary War as an example of this. If we don't like our conditions, we can kill you and make new conditions. That's what men are capable of doing. In the historic record, when I looked, I never found, not one time, a single instance of women being able to collectivize and use force to take anything from men. Ever. I've never once found it, and I looked hard. I wanted to see if there was even one example. There's not one. Can you think of a single time ever in history, that you know about, where women have collectivized and used force to take anything from men?
Not force.
And so if that's the case, and men have a monopoly on force, you're always going to have to appeal to them to not use it on you. Because here's the dirty truth, and it's brutal, and I'm sorry, but I feel like, because I have a standard of half the world to look at, I know that if men collectivize in the West and decide to put women in little cages, there's not a shit they can do about it. So they really have to appeal to the benevolence of men, and all they do is demonize them, and that's fucking crazy to me.
So I mean, again, like when I mentioned earlier how that kind of justifies like any tyrannical invading force, do you think
There's not a justification, it's a description.
The less powerful party in that situation should just appease to the oppressor or the invading force?
The thing is that you're gonna. Well, here's the thing. Let me ask you this: if you have somebody who's larger than you are, right, and can beat you up, do you talk shit to him?
No,
why not?
So they don't beat me up.
They don't beat you up, right?
There should still be some.
Is that a form of appeasement?
I just distance myself from this person.
So it's not a form of appeasement? Hang on. Answer the question I asked first. Is it a form of appeasement when someone's much larger than you, so you don't talk shit to them because they don't? It's because you don't want to get beat up. Is that appeasing?
I mean, you're not really doing anything.
Right. It's not appeasement. So when we're talking about this, it's not appeasement
If you
either.
bring in a third party in that situation, I think they have a responsibility to call out the person who's.
Well, I think that the case is that if you aggravate the sex who is responsible for your fucking rights and then they take them away, well, that's just like going up to the 6'4" guy as me, right, who's 280 pounds and going, I'm going to do what I want, and then when he smashes my face, does it matter if I give him my moral objection? If I'm like, that's really immoral that you just did that, he's going to be like, that's nice. They don't give a shit about my moral objection. They're going to beat my fucking head in. And the thing is like, okay, since that's an objective reality, the objective reality here for women is exactly the same. If you decide to continue the agitation of men, if women collectively do that, men are capable of taking everything from women, and the reverse isn't true.
Okay, when I think about what you're saying in the context of the world we live in today, a society that's advanced a lot more than that intellectually is not just this caveman primitive, I beat you up, you listen to me, you appease to me kind of way. Because it's very Stone Age actually. It's very interesting.
It's funny to me that
When a woman says that you're controlling, toxic, insecure for not wanting your girl to go party 4 or 5 nights a week and get drunk and put herself in these sorts of situations, that's basically essentially just shaming language. You're trying to shame men out of using our masculine instincts to keep her out of positions that put the relationship at risk. And I do think it's the case that if you're going out and partying and getting drunk and being around these kinds of people in these kinds of environments, you are putting your relationship at risk. Would you be okay with your long-term monogamous boyfriend going to the club?
No.
Why not?
Well, he's like seeing all the naked shit.
Don't you trust him?
Yeah, but I feel like this club is different.
Perfection is unattainable, but that should not stop
30
us from
seconds
trying
before
to
you
achieve
attack.
it.
Get ready.
Your mind seems familiar to me.
I actually think I can manipulate the woman who's like,
Yes,
gotta have kids, gotta have
briefly.
kids. I
When
can
I was within my
manipulate the
cocoon,
fucking shit out of
adrift
her.
in the
Whereas
cosmos.
this fucking 19-year-old beautiful woman, I have to bring so much value to the table for her to find an 18-year-old girl DMs me. And I'm not pursuing her. And I date women my age, I date women older, I date women younger. But in this particular instance, like, I'm not kicking it at college parties just trying to get some fucking college chicks, whatever. She DMs me.
A little help, please.
And should I reject her because she's 18?
I think if I was in your position, I would like reject her. I'm not sure 18 because personally for me, if I was in your position, I would want at least 20 or up because, like I said, to me it's your
Should 18-year-old women be allowed to vote?
consent is different from voting. Like, I don't know. Those are two very different topics.
I 100% agree. It's completely different. I think the threshold for making political decisions is way more, has way more gravity than who you choose to fuck. Because I'm sure you'd be fine with, like, when did you lose your virginity?
I was really young.
When did you lose your virginity? Was it with a guy your age?
No.
Younger? Young? Okay, older? How old? I don't know if that's Romeo and Juliet or whatever, but, like, are you fine? Are you fine with 18-year-olds and 18-year-olds fucking? So you're fine with 18-year-olds having sex?
Well, I think legally it's 48 months.
There's still so much to do.
18. So if it's like
No, I know, but I guess what I'm asking here is, you don't necessarily have an issue with 18-year-old women having sex.
I mean, like, I think everybody should be able to make their own decisions.
Should we prevent 18-year-old white women from having sex with black men?
No. I think you can sleep with who you want to sleep with. Men, women.
But also at the same time, if like I was in her position and like I was dating an older man, I would immediately, if I didn't know that like that was I'm so sorry. If I didn't know that was like predatory or anything, I think I would like in the future like an older woman talking to me at least about like her experience or what she views or something. That's why I'd like to talk to her in like 2 years.
All the older women are going to be like, yes, I dated an older man, and it's like maybe they're going to say it was a bad experience. So what? They all dated men their age. And they had bad
By the eye of Agamotto!
Okay, so what is the actual objection aside from just like it gives you the ick for an older man to date a younger woman?
Destiny awaits.
Like, is it morally wrong
I think to me it's morally wrong.
for the on whose part, the older guy?
Both, because I would say, I mean, like, it depends on, I guess, who is in a younger position. If it's older, a younger man, like, it's the same thing in an older woman. I think the younger person would be in, like,
I'm ready to put on a show!
the younger person is in that system because older people, you're 37. You have 15 years of wisdom and experience on me. Nothing can end those 15 years of wisdom and experience unless I live those 15 years.
Not necessarily. I think people can be wise at either age, but I also, do men choose to date women based on their wisdom? Like, is that a high priority?
Depends on the man, but I would say on average, no.
Well, let me ask you this. What about a 40-year-old man who doesn't have kids, but he wants to have kids? Should he date a 40-year-old woman, or should he find a 25-year-old?
I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, my parents have, or my stepmom and my stepdad have a 17-year age gap. I still because of I was raised in like that dynamic.
By the eye of Agamotto!
There are fucked up dynamics where they're the exact same age. Obviously, being the same age does not prevent fucked up dynamics from happening, or being within like a certain age range doesn't prevent it from happening. I would say that has more to do with the respective people in that relationship and their personality and their temperaments. But again, I don't know if I got an answer to this. An 18-year-old DM'd me and wants to be
I would say if I were in my shoes,
you wouldn't do it, but like, would you object under that? So she's all up on me.
okay, so I've been in situations being an 18-year-old or like whatever, and or like I'm 23 now, and I still have like friends who are like 18, 19. Every single time I have like an 18, 19-year-old friend who is talking to an older man, I sit down and have a talk with them, and I'm like, okay, listen, like I understand that older man may be desirable, but like you're gonna realize like, you know, maybe in like 5 years that this relationship maybe didn't come from like the best standpoint or anything. I don't know. I just think like a huge age gap relationship is predatory. That's just I just
Yeah, why is it predatory?
Cause okay, to me, my parents, my stepmom, she was in fucking diapers when my dad was graduating high school. That's fucked.
Was he dating her when she was in diapers?
No, but like, bro, I
Okay,
don't
she
know,
was an
to
adult.
me-
She was an adult when they started dating. She was what, 25, 24, you said?
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know. I being raised in that dynamic, I see their age gap and how like their age gap created issues
Okay,
within
how?
a relationship.
How?
Because my dad simply has 17 years more experience than she does. I'm like, I don't
Maybe
know.
that's
I
a good
think
thing. Maybe that's a good thing. Hold on, let me ask you guys a question. So for some of the younger women or women, you can think back to when you were young. When you were dating guys in college or whatever who were like 18, 19, 20, 21, were they like all over the fucking place and you're like, oh, they're so immature, blah, blah, blah. Has that never been the case for you women dating younger men?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, you're like, oh, these younger guys, like they just want to fuck around and they don't want a relationship, they don't want commitment.
Yeah, for sure.
They're immature. They watch the fucking Nelk Boys. They want to do bong rips and they want to fucking do keg stands and shit.